Welcome, everyone, and welcome to this session of Q&A, AI for Autograding ECR. My name is Valentin Guerra, alongside with Deborah Pingle. We're here to support you, and please feel free to write any questions in the chat. Debbie and myself will be looking at to see if we can answer them ASAP. And if not, we'll be able to answer them after the training. Some housekeeping rules: make sure that you keep your mic muted, and feel free to type your questions. I already said that in the chat section. Debbie will be monitoring mainly, but I will also see it. If I do see a question, Marco is also here with us. If any of us sees the question, we'll try to answer it. If not, we'll get back to you. If you have not registered, please do so in the professional development system by going to the website and using session ID 318284. Remember, as always, use remote checking code PSJA Tech, all in lowercase, on the PD system to check yourself in. If you're checked in and registered, you will be able to participate in our giveaways at the end of our session. So now let's talk about why we're doing autograding in ECR. As well, a lot of us have learned, as TEA is using AI for scoring. Is that how it is? Is AI going to be used for scoring? Well, TEA is going to be using a system called Automating Scoring Engine, which is similar to an AI. It is kind of like an AI, and it will be using it for scoring STAAR. It focuses on scoring essays and improve efficiency on the grading. And about 3/4 of all the written response will be scored by using ASC. It will save costs compared to exclusive human graders. While some concerns do exist, ASC represents an effort to streamline this grading and maintaining rigorous standards. Now, ASC is not like the generative AI that we know, like ChatGPT, Copilot, or even Reina in Magic School. Instead, it's a narrow abilities to use specific scoring. What that means is that it was built specific for this task, and it's programmed, overseen, and analyzed by human to ensure it's accurate and fair. Now, why is it good for us to start using AI for extended constructive response? I feel like autograding, like using ChatGPT, Copilot, or Reina in Magic School will streamline your own process as a teacher. Even if you're a principal or if you're an admin, CNI strategist, it will provide you data or maybe some ideas on how we're doing our grading. Now, if we do it correctly, or if we give the information correctly to the chatbot, it will help us out even more. Now, there's a lot of things that we will want to talk to you about. There have been some teachers that have been using it, and they've been like, the responses were very different than the ones of us grading the students. So maybe we want to take a step back and don't take it 100%. Remember that the ASC is going to be taking it a little bit different than what the chatbot is. But what I will guide you through right now is how we can build the chatbot into using what we have to make it as accurate as possible so we can get an idea. It might be like we're undergrading or overgrading our students, so maybe it will open up our eyes a little bit in reading into some of the responses. So again, the benefits is consistency. It ensures fair and uniform grading across all students' responses. It's efficient. It will save you a lot of time and effort, especially with large number of submissions. Scalability, you can handle grading for more than one students or assessments without increasing the workload. Now, one of the things that I did want to mention is by using the rubric that we're going to be using, it's only one auto grading. I'm going to be using some examples from the middle of the year benchmark assessment of benchmark 2. And remember that those scores were doubled. So what I'm going to show you is just one score. And since we're not doubling, there's not two raters, we're not going to be able to see odd numbers in the total score. It will only be even because the AI will only score it once for us. Unless you decide to use two different AI chatbots, and then they're two different scores and you want to use it that way. You do get immediate feedback. The evaluation is more objective. You're not really reading into the responses. You're reading into the responses of the students, but not necessarily what this, you might want to feel like this student has been doing so good. I see the growth, but it's going to be more objective if you use AI. You can customize it and align it closely to what you're asking it. So we're going to be using the example of the rubric by TEA, the passage that was used for 4th grade for ECR, and I'm going to be using the sample ratings that came from TEA to build that the AI chatbot information itself, and then start feeding some samples from the students. And data analysis, it generates valuable insights into the student performance. Using AI also can provide you automatic feedback on why he gave that score. Again, how are we going to do it? We need to develop clear rubrics. We already have the one that we're going to be using that is from TEA. We need to make sure that it's detailed and outlined to the criteria that we're grading the aspects that we want. Provide the passage and the question prompts. So we need to make sure that what the students are going to be reading, that's the same that what we feed the AI, and the prompts that we're going to be asking the students. Now, training ChatGPT or training your AI, why we're going to be using ChatGPT is because it doesn't limit the amount of characters that we input in there. I tried using Reina and Copilot, and Copilot only allowed me 2,000, maybe 1,000 or 2,000 characters, and Reina was the other one. But Reina does allow you to submit a document. So I'm going to be using Reina after I show you how it works on ChatGPT. And then we provide the student responses. So those are mainly the 5 things we need to show. I put 2 in 1, but have the rubric provided to the chatbot, provide the passage and the question prompts, train the ChatGPT with some of the pre-solved responses. In this case, will be the ones that TEA provided that are already sample responses, and then student responses that will be graded. So let's go back to ChatGPT. Once we give you these slides, I did provide a link in here that will give you access to a folder on OneDrive with a lot of the rubrics and papers that I worked with. So let me show you what I have. Let me open it here so I can show. And I have to sign into my own account. Here we go. I put a lot of the practice sets in English and in Spanish, a lot of the rubrics, and then we have the STAAR 3 RLA scoring guide. Now, this is the same one for 4th grade. This is 3rd grade, but this one I just edited so I can just upload this document into Magic School's Reina, and then I'm going to use that alongside with ChatGPT. Now, I do want to show you ChatGPT right now. And I had created, as you can see, I have a lot of my history of chat conversations with ChatGPT. And this is using 3.5, like we know. And I added the rubrics for informative and argumentative. But if you can see in my history, I already built all the information and the rubrics. I gave it, hey, I'm going to provide you a rubric and some sample graded student responses. From there, I'm going to provide you a passage and question prompts. And finally, I want you to use that rubric, the question prompts, to be able to grade students' extended constructed responses that I will provide you at the end. Now, my writing is not going to be perfect, so don't look at my sentences. It makes sense in my head, and the AI will understand it. And then it gives me, I'll be happy to, please provide me the rubric. So I copy and paste the rubric that's right here. And after you do, it will give you, thank you for providing the rubric. Now, I'm going to show you how I did it, but I just preformed it so we can go ahead and go into the grading. This is the rubric. No, this is the sample responses. Let me open the rubric. It's right here. I'm going to be using this one. And I put them in order with the rubric first, then the passage, then the sample student responses. no, actually the passage, the prompts, and then the sample student responses. So what I'm going to do here is just copy everything and paste it. I'm going to come back here into ChatGPT and I opened a new chat. So I'm going to tell it exactly the same thing. Hi, I am going to provide you with a rubric for an informative passage. The passage, the question prompts, and sample student responses that are graded, which are graded, to provide you information on grading all levels of student responses, I guess, as well. I don't like to put that up. I'm going to put it in there and let's see. Sure, provide me the rubric. So now I'm going to just paste all the information in here. But I do want to tell her, because one of the things that I saw in the previous one that I have there generated is make sure that you know that the rubric is in 2 areas. As we can see the rubric, let me open it again. Which is this one. We have the organization and development of ideas and conventions. So I want to make sure that I retype it again just so I can keep that information. Organization of ideas is one that is scored from 0 to 3 only. And the second part is conventions that is scored from 0 to 2 only. All that information was, so I need to provide it smaller. So what I did in the other one, I actually make it in several responses. So this was way too much information. I'm not going to go and spend much time in it because I will only have 15 minutes in a bit. So I have this exactly what I did. I provided the same thing, the rubric, the passage, and the sample scorings. Now, because of the sample scores had, it looks like it was scanned, I have to go and make sure that it was exactly how it was typed. So make sure that you want all the information, it is accurate. So now that I'm here, I'm going to be using some sample scores that I got from some teachers. And I'm going to copy and paste. So I have a student response 1. And this is what I'm going to put. Now that, and one of the things that you want to do after you provide all the information, check the rubric. So you can just tell, show me the rubric. Show me the rubrics you will use for scoring. Because this is one of the things that I want to make sure. It is provided organization and development of ideas from 0 to 3 and conventions from 0 to 2. Some in this one originally was giving me 0 to 3 for both of them. So I had to reteach and tell them, make sure that organization and development of ideas is 0 to 3 and conventions is 0 to 2. Now I'm going to type the student response. And I'm putting in student response 1. But first I'm going to tell her what it is. Here is a student response. Can you please grade it using the rubric? Make sure that you also use all the information we have been discussing, which includes, I'm going to put it in here, the passage, rubric, prompts, and sample graded answers. So it says that based on the information provided, It gives me some of the feedback on organization and development of ideas. It gives me some feedback on the conventions, and then it gives me an overall score. So organization and development of ideas, it's a 1. Conventions is a 1. Overall, it gives you that the response demonstrated limited understanding. Now, I will tell you, this was graded by the teacher, and the score is a 4. So that means that the score of a 2 is correct with a score of a 4. Remember, I told you we double it? Feeding the information and feeding those sample answers, it's going to allow it to make it better. So now what I do want to test is putting responses 2 through 4 and see if I can give me 3 responses or score 3 responses at a time. Hi, I am going to provide you 3 submissions. Please score them individually. Score them individually using all the information beforehand. You don't have to correct the AI will know what you're trying to say, but I like to make it better, especially because I'm recording myself. And then I'm going to tell it we have submissions from student 2, 3, and 4, because that's what I named them. So here it is. Let's see if it will work. So for student 2, it gave me organizational development of ideas of 3, conventions of 5. That student actually was scored by the teacher as a 7. So this is actually higher than what the teacher had actually scored. Student response 3 was a score of a 4. So this is exactly accurate as what the teacher scored it. And student response 5, the score was a 9. So I will say this will be accurate as well, because doubling 5 will be a 5. Now I'm going to ask it, can you please provide me detailed feedback for each of these 3 students? Because we want to make sure that we're able to provide the feedback to the students. So for student response 2, the response effectively introduces the main idea. For 4th, is well organized and effectively develops the idea of Edwards aquifer is important. It provides multiple reasons supporting it by evidence from the text. The conclusion reinforces the main points and effectively summarizes the argument. It gives you exactly what to give to your students as feedback as well. Now, if you're going to be using this with your students, we have been talking about other generative AIs like Copilot and Magic School. One of the cool things, if you do have Magic School, they do have Magic Student, where you can provide some of the AI tools to your students where they can submit their own information. They can put the rubric and they can get their own feedback as well. So that's something to look out for. I'm sure we were going to be providing more training on AI. But as of right now, I would like to open it up for questions and see if you guys want me to submit any more responses. If there's any questions, just feel free to put them on the chat or unmute yourself. And if there's those questions, I'm going to grab some student responses.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes. Oh, okay. What rubrics did you use? Did you just use the ones directly from TEA, or did you have some that you made yourself?
Nope, I used the rubrics directly from TEA. I will tell you, she's right here. Carla provide me, well, I had the rubrics, but she provided me with the rubrics and the sampler answers that TEA provided. And with that, that's how I built the chatbot. Now, I do want to go to Magic School and upload that same rubric and then test it out again in there. Now, I'm going to provide 3 more in here. Again, there are 3 more students. Please grade them and provide detailed feedback. There are students response 1, 2, and 3. I think that's what I did. And I'm going to paste it, and there we go. And this is something that was provided to me by a teacher, that their scoring was very different than the one that the AI was providing. So with this student, we can see that I got a total level of score of 4. So that means it will be a score of 8. Now the previous AI had score 3 and the teacher score of 5. So we are in between the teacher and the other AI with more feedback. To me, as a teacher, if we provide and we build that AI more, we can see, well, maybe the teacher did overgrade it. Look at the reasonings that the AI is giving you. For student response 2, the teacher scored as a 5 and the previous AI has scored it as a 2. So in here, we also have it as a 2, same as the AI. We want to make sure that maybe we see what we're scoring. It might be a little bit different. Student response 3 is a 5. That totally is like a high level. What is doubled is a 10. So the teacher scored a 5 and the previous AI score was a 3. So we went with the teacher in this one. And it's because we built the AI with the sampler responses that were already graded. So now let's go to Reina in Magic School. I'm going to open a new chat. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to open this and upload a PDF. So you can see here, I'm going to go to all of my folders that I have divided by everything. I think I have it under trainings, AI for autograding, rubrics, and is the rubric passage from the scoring. Oh, it's too long. I can't use it. See, this is the only thing about Reina and about also about Copilot. There's just so much that we can do. So what I can do here, I'm going to open that passage, that I'm going to reduce the size of that Adobe file. I have, I can take 2 minutes. I can take 2 minutes. Let me open the size. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to edit that. There we go. There you go. I'm going to grab it here. And I'm going to grab these up to here. I'm going to split it. Split into, let's do 6. I didn't split it. Let me see. Extract those 6 pages. That's what I was looking for. And then as a separate file, I'm going to put it just on my downloads just so I can grab it quickly. And then I'm going to grab these and also going to extract them. And they're also going to be under my downloads. Okay, now that they're here, I have these here under my downloads. Oh, it extracted as different pages. That's not what exactly I wanted. I click on the wrong thing. Let me open it again. So I have 6 minutes. I'm not going to do on Reina just because it was not collaborating with me, but do you want me to share the prompts that I use with ChatGPT? Yeah, I can share again what prompts I put with ChatGPT. So in my informative, this is exactly what I did. So I said, I'm going to provide you a rubric and some samples graded student responses. That's the main prompt. And then I gave Ms. Cepeda this. I pasted this, which I copy and pasted the actual rubric. This is the grade 4 reading passage extended constructed response informational writing rubric. It is exactly just copy and pasted, and I didn't delete anything. After I put the rubric, I went, thank you for providing rubric, provide the passage in question. So here is the passage and the student question prompts. And then I copy and paste it. It's also about Austin's secret salamander. So after I did this, she's just ready to start grading. But I wasn't ready for it to start grading. I told the AI that I'm going to give it sample student responses that were already graded. I just put sample student responses and I copied and pasted in here. That will give them a baseline of what, humanize it a little bit more of what we're expecting it. Yes, Ms. Daniels, this recording will be available hopefully by the end of this week.
Val, I think what Christina would like to see is what you typed in, like on a document, so they know what to type in.
Okay,
Not what
I can create that, and I'll share it with you.
Thank you.
And then, so Christina, what I did afterwards, I played with the AI, and I can show you here. This is what I was telling you. It gives me the rubric, as I show me the rubric. It gave me 0 to 4 in both. So then I told her it's not 0 to 4, it's 0 to 3 on organization and development, but it didn't understand because it gave it to me on conventions. So what I had to tell it is the rubrics are separate. One for organization and development is 0 to 3. The other one is 0 to 2. Then it split it into 2 rubrics, which will allow it to grade it how I needed it to do. And then after that, that's built. My saved chat, this one, now I can grade any of the passages that the students created on this passage with this rubric just by putting it in here.
So maybe in that folder, you can just drop a
document. Yes, I will add it to that folder.
Perfect. Awesome.
So after that, after the recording or after this training, I will be creating some of the samples. I can actually probably, let me see if I can just share it.
Yanez would like you to go back to the first statement you typed.
Sure. And I can show you exactly what I type right here. And I'll put this on the chat. I am going to provide you a rubric and some sample graded students' responses. Then I will provide you a passage and question prompts. Then I want you to use the rubric and that information to grade the student extended constructed responses that will be provided later. So I give you here the history of my chat and what I asked it. But I can also provide it on a Word document, and I'll put it on that folder that we will be sharing, and it's right here. When you go into this page of the presentation, we're going to give you access to it, a copy of this. You just go here to the STAAR rubrics, and this is a folder on OneDrive.